you want to join back?
How do I do that?
You would just leave and then hit the link again. Yeah.
Yeah, let me try it again. I'll be right back.
Okay. I have to pull up the live on Facebook because it doesn't show half the time for some reason. The comments. Okay.
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Is it frozen though?
It
Nope.
did freeze as soon as you smiled.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Let's
see.
Jim, you're
let me try. Let me change my.
Okay, let's go in here.
Frozen Witch.
Do you have more than one camera?
You know what? This is like the start of one of the COVID era Zoom horror
movies.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn her back on. I see her moving on the side.
Nope.
And the minute you join the stream, for some reason, it just keeps freezing.
Jeez.
At least it's a good picture, though.
It is. It's a great picture. It is absolutely a great picture. Okay.
Give me one more. Let me try something.
Yep, go ahead. We got time. We're not in a hurry. So, Corey.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did get a chance to check out some of your music. It's really good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Appreciate that. I guess The Immortals is what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's Scarah singing.
I know.
Yeah.
Jim is huge into like metal.
Okay.
Aren't you, Jim?
Yeah.
He's being facetious.
Oh, are you not into metal or?
I like some. I'm not a huge fan, but I do like some metal music.
Okay.
Jim, what's your favorite genre?
Shut up, Mark. I like he's making fun of me because I like yacht rock.
Oh, so do I. I love Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross, man. I mean, they're great, dude. Yeah.
See, thank you, Mark. Mark is into the baby metal shit. It's very strange.
Baby metal's great.
Yeah, I think all musicians have a pretty wide palette. You get bored. At least my age, you've gotten bored with just about everything and tried just about everything, you know.
Yeah, I agree. The music I listen to is 100% dependent on my mood.
Same.
If I'm very focused and need to just get shit done around the house, it's all heavy music, like Five Finger Death Punch, stuff like that. Which I know, Mark, don't make fun of me. And then if I'm in a good mood, it's usually just yacht rock.
Hey, it's all subjective. I don't care. You know, it's like whenever.
No, you just like to make fun of me. That's all.
No, I just like to make fun of your yacht rock because I think the term yacht rock is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you know why they coined it yacht rock, Mark?
I don't know. Jimmy Buffett.
No,
I don't know. I don't know.
It's technically described as the last musical era that was not politically inspired.
Really?
Yes.
What's that got to do with yachts?
I don't know.
So you just said, "Hey, do you know why they call it yacht rock?" And then gave a non-explanation about why they called it yacht rock.
No, that is what they termed the definition because it's breezy and feel good music. It's not.
Well, I understand that. I don't get the political stuff. So, Corey, as you'll notice, you know, we're very laid back.
Yeah, we fly by the seat of our pants because we just like to have a conversation. It's more fun that way.
Yeah, sure.
So, Jim, are we live right now?
We are live right now, Mark.
All right.
Corey, I doing a little bit of research, and you're a doctor. You're a doctor, right? In quantum physics, is that true?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, so if you were to search my name on the interweb, it definitely sounds like there's multiple people by the name of Corey Trahan, right? So, yeah, that's my day job. So I got a PhD in quantum physics in 2004. So I have been working as a physicist for the Department of Defense for a while, and I teach at the University of Texas in fall and during their fall semesters. And so, yeah, it helps support my my artistic endeavors. You know,
that's amazing.
you're probably the perfect guest to come on because myself and Jim frequently discuss quantum mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's lots of different interpretations of this, right? And I still think the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics is maybe one of the simplest and easiest to understand. Jim disagrees. Jim, why do you disagree with that?
Mark, I am not smart enough to comment on this conversation.
I'm just busting your balls.
I know you are. I know you are. So, Mark, who do we have with us today?
We have Corey and it's Trahan. Trahan?
Close enough. That works.
Oh, well, yeah.
Trahan.
That's why the English language sucks, because we don't have like umlauts or grounds or accents. So
Right.
And we have Scarah Webb.
We do. And what are they known for, Mark?
They're known for being awesome and coming on our podcast.
Well, that's true.
But they're also horror directors, actors. With Corey's got his own production company, and I watched one of his movies, and it was very good.
Before we get into the movie we watched, Corey and Scarah, why don't you give out your social media stuff so that people know where to follow you?
Sure. Yeah, I could start. Scarah and I and a group of other people have a production company called Horror Web Productions, and so you can go on and search Horror Web, HORRORWEB, anywhere on Instagram or Facebook. Our handles will show up. It's fairly obvious if you've gotten us. You'll see our content, our film content everywhere. We are also in a pop punk horror band called The Immortals with a Z. So you can do a search for The Immortals with a Z. You'll find we have a website. Well, we're on Spotify, of course, Apple Music, all the streaming music apps. We also have Facebook and Instagram handles. And so, Scarah, I think you have your own stuff too, right?
Scarah_Damsel of the Doomed.
Is that everywhere?
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice. So let's talk about Scarah, because first I want to say the makeup's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I was obsessed with that makeup when I saw you telling the story at the beginning of the Black Quarry. Do you do all that yourself?
Yeah. I've been doing the Scarah character since the end of 2018, and I wanted something that would be easily and quickly recognizable. So that's why I kind of came up with the blood stained tears. It's crying blood's pretty recognizable in horror as a symbol, I guess. So I thought it would be something I could do that people would quickly get,
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, take us through the Black Quarry. What did you think?
So this is, Corey, I believe you said it was a micro budget movie. It does not come across like a micro budget movie.
Agreed.
And I think, as much as technologies become cheaper, certainly for shooting movies and everything else, there's so many different aspects, especially like the sound design, obviously paying for actors, locations, and all of that. And it did not come across as micro budget. So whenever you come to spending that money, what's your kind of first, okay, this is where the majority of the budget is going to go?
Yeah, well, first off, that's a huge compliment. So thank you for mentioning that. The when it comes to a budget of the film, it's always great if you could live outside of that budget. In other words, you don't want someone to consider a budget watching the film. You just want them to watch the film and enjoy the story that's being told. And as long as you are not sort of having these sort of red flag budgets, budget oriented kind of things, it's always great. So I appreciate that comment. I would say, we did pay some crew. So, so we're definitely, in the budget for some crew members. They're never paid what they're worth for a micro budget film. You kind of just pay them what you can afford to pay them. Actors are very similar. You sort of, You pay what you can afford, and everyone's working on passion and grit and a love for independent film at that point. And these types of films are becoming really popular because in the digital age, it's fairly cheap to go out and get a digital camera and to shoot a film. And so if you have a great story that can exist outside of a budget, you can do that. And with today's technology, if you're a capable filmmaker. So, but I would say most of the budget went to just trying to pay people as much as possible. Of course, there's always props and makeup effects. It's a practical effects heavy film. And so, that definitely incurs a budget, even at the micro scale level. And then film festivals and sort of marketing and that kind of stuff too also has, part of the budget sort of factored in.
Yeah, and I think part of it, not feeling like micro budget is some of the writing in it, because I felt sometimes in micro budget you get people banter between different characters that doesn't seem quite right. But I think for the most part, like, I was laughing my ass all the way through. I think it really landed. And the choice to have Sarah as kind of the horror host, I think is a great idea too, because I can't think of any other genre where they have like like a horror host. And I love that sort of introduction too.
Yeah, the whole film is kind of this fun throwback to things that, like Sarah and I grew up with that we enjoyed, like very like a creep show horror host vibe where you can just sort of relax a little bit at the end of a long day and just put on something for an hour. The Black Quarry is fairly short. It's around 55 minutes, and it's just a fun comedy film, and so Scarah, Damsel of the Doom, gets up and introduces the film in a sort of Crypt Keepers kind of Elvira way, and then we sort of move on to the actual story about the black metal band and how they go out into the woods and shoot a music video. And so we just wanted to, and it was the film was written, and we just really wanted to do something that was sort of an homage to something that to things that we loved growing up, and it was definitely that type of film, so there's it's practical effect heavy, kind of Evil Dead-y, and just fun. It's just a fun film to watch.
Yeah, I was a little concerned whenever you went to shoot the video, with it being a black metal band, and it was like in like sunny daylight. And then you showed the music video and they had all the filters behind it. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny you brought that up because I was concerned too. So how do you make a black metal video? It's in some ways more metal because it's shot during the day. It's like these guys are so metal. They're metal as hell in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? Like anybody can be metal at night, right? But these guys are so intensely metal. They're wearing purely black on a Texas 100-degree day. Like that's a commitment to metal, right?
Right. It's the exact opposite of like Norwegian like snow forests at night. But yeah, and I love the videos too. I thought they were great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
they're fun. I have a question for you, Corey. As far as the shooting goes, like that first scene where they're in the bar is sort of like a fever dream because everything's happening and you're moving through the whole crowd. How hard was that to get shot?
Yeah, so the film proper after Scarah gives her monologue at the beginning begins with what's called a long shot for us, which is like one big shot that is not something you see, especially at the micro budget level. And I always wanted to do this shot for the very beginning. I wanted to do it, and the crew was real nervous about it, but it took a little convincing, and it took a lot of directing, and it took a great crew to come together to make that happen. But the sort of the long shot where it's kind of creeping through the bar and engaging with the different groups of people was definitely an ambitious shot. We were there was definitely a sort of a nerve. The crew was really nervous about it, but man, did we pull it off. We worked it out beautifully. We didn't have a lot of time at that location, so that's what sort of made it a little bit more anxious, because we spent probably Sarah, probably a couple hours setting up that shot, I think.
I don't remember how long it took to set it up. I just remember all the elements involved. There are a lot of moving pieces. We had a whole lot of extras, and then you had your principal cast involved, and various extras were directed to do certain actions when they were cued in a certain way. So it was a whole, definitely something we did a few times to get everything just right. But it's my favorite shot of the whole movie.
Yeah. I agree that was. There's just so much going on. Like, you could watch that scene probably 30, 40 times and still pick up something new, because there's just so much.
And to me, unfortunately, I think a lot of micro budget movies suffer from very close in framing, which I think does, you can understand why they do it. But whenever you kind of like open a scene up, I definitely think it makes it seem, I don't want to say more legitimate, but maybe more professional, and more money's behind it. There's multiple scenes where there is a wide angle on the camera, so it helps a lot too.
It feels more immersive, like you're in that scene with them. Yeah, I'm very proud of our crew for coming together and just doing a killer job. By the way, Sarah was not just, she was the assistant director on that film. She was my assistant director on that film too. So
awesome.
One of them. We had two
of them, and then the other one was Kayla Stojak, who is a fantastic artist. So yeah,
that's awesome. So why did you want to make a horror comedy with this film? I know you keep saying that it was something that you grew up with, but is that just your favorite genre in horror?
Existing in me is a dichotomy of really dumb and really smart. I think that my job is so serious a lot that it's nice. I really appreciate just absurdity and just having a good time, and so I've always loved comedies, and I've always loved horror comedy. Now, my newest film is not at all a comedy. It's a very serious sort of, I guess, for lack of a better words, elevated horror. But when it comes down to it, some of my most favorite horror films are horror comedy. And I love horror and I love comedy. And so it just makes a lot of sense. And I do think that's a large part because it's what relaxes me and where I have the most fun, And so, it was easy for me to write the film because I've been a musician my whole life. So dialogue between musicians on the road, the jackassery that goes on, I know that. If there's anything I know, it's that. And it's very funny. And so it just naturally, the content itself just sort of naturally lends to a comedic element,
So I'm curious, Corey, we talked about your day job already, but what is it? Where did your passion for filmmaking come from?
It's storytelling is really my thing. I think that for me, I just have always loved to tell stories, and in any form, whether it's been as a dungeon master playing Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, or through a comic book, or however, through a song. It's however I can be creative and come up with stories. And so I do feel like film is the ultimate storytelling device. It has the visual, it has the audio, it just has, a very impactful way to be able to create a story and connect to people at that level. So
I'm kind of interested, Scarah. I'll call you Scarah because I think that's better than Sarah. As an actor in this movie, as well as being, one of the assistant directors, how much leeway do you give the actors to come up with, your own dialogue or their own dialogue as you're filming?
That's for me?
Yeah. You and Corey. I wanted to include you because we're just drilling Corey right now.
Oh, I don't mind at all. I can tell you in two respects, actually. So for me, Corey wrote the monologue and presented it to me, and he allowed me to change it up and make it more fitting for my character, because I've been doing this character for a while. So he's definitely the type of director that isn't married to his dialogue. For example, the scene with the bar owner in the beginning, him and the band manager, when they're talking, that bar owner, that actor, Jason Rouse, is a stand-up comedian, and he is very funny. And so he took the written dialogue, which was also funny, but he very much added his own stuff to that scene, which, some of the lines were so funny in that moment that as a crew member, we all were, I mean, I was like biting my hand to not laugh at what he was saying, because we weren't expecting it. But yeah, I could definitely say that Corey's the type of director that's not married to his dialogue. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Some directors really want, director writers really want the dialogue to be just so. I know, for example, John Waters is like that. He wants the dialogue written as it, or spoken as it's written. But other directors allow and like for the actors to kind of explore and possibly make it better, and that's what Corey did.
Yeah, I like to collab. I'm a collaborative artist. Being in bands, you're that artist, singer, songwriter, bands. Growing up, that's where I fit in best, is collaborating with other artists, and these actors are artists, and the best delivery you're going to get is something that they're familiar, that they feel comfortable with, and so to me, the dialogue, the script is a guideline, and there's a motive and a point. We have to get there. We have to arrive there, and so as long as we're arriving at and sort of going through the emotions and arriving at the point of whatever that dialogue is, I don't really care about the specifics. I would rather an actor or an actress give me the most emotional, the best performance they can, and if that means they have to sort of adjust the dialogue, zero problem with that. So
do you find, especially with more independent filmmaking, that it helps lend to the chemistry you get between characters?
I do, and that's for a couple reasons. One is with especially with smaller budget filmmaking, sometimes the writing really isn't there, and so really, so if you give the actors leeway, it'll make the dialogue, the writing feel more natural. Other times, on the flip side, maybe the acting isn't 100% there, and so whenever you're acting, it's definitely harder to specifically act something than it is to generally act something. So if you're just given, hey, we need to get this accomplished, this dialogue has this motivation, let's get it accomplished, and you let sort of actors just do their thing, that's an easier job that I think than what, like Sarah was like with John Waters or something, saying this is exactly the dialogue that you need to deliver. I think that's a harder task, especially if you're not, a super high-end actor that's going to demand a lot of money.
Yeah, it's the Stanley Kubrick effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it the way I want it perfectly, or else we're going to do it 150 times.
Right.
Which
Right.
Again, with a lower budget movie. Yeah. But one character I really enjoyed was the manager. I thought he was hilarious. He reminded me of a guy that was on Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares episode. I'm like, this guy looks exactly like him, and he's British too. It's so funny. But the part where the drummer's like, "Oh, you got a small dick," and then he's all like, "Yeah, but your mom."
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to him. Oh yeah, he was doing it with your mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was really funny.
Yeah, we could definitely. Scotty is the actor. He's from San Antonio, and we weren't expecting a British accent. So
he does a very good job.
Yeah, like he had a couple takes, right, Sarah? I think he did one normal and one.
in his audition, he sent us him doing it in the British accent, and then we requested him to do it another take with a regular American accent, and we all agreed that the British accent would be funnier.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He's pretty he's in a lot of things. He stays very active, especially in that San Antonio market. I was at a film festival last weekend, and I saw him. I saw a short that he was in. I'm like, wow, there's Scotty. So he's a very active actor.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of film festivals, you guys, we should say congratulations, right? Because Scarah, Damsel of the Damned, is going to Texas Frightmare Weekend, right?
Yes, Damsel of the Doomed. Don't feel bad though, everybody.
Doomed, sorry.
That's a typical one. That's okay. Yeah, we'll be screening at Texas Frightmare Weekend Friday, March 23rd at 11 p.m. I'm so excited about that. That's a great.
That's amazing. And I believe Corey told me, Sarah, that you wrote that film.
I did. I wrote that one. So initially, The Black Quarry was supposed to be part of an anthology. That's why it's horror hosted, because I was going to horror host 2 or 3 movies all together. And he wrote The Black Quarry and we filmed it. I did the monologue to open it. And then I wrote Damsel of the Doomed based on my character, story I wrote based on my character, kind of giving the character's backstory and everything. And but I've never written a movie before. Whoa, sorry. I've never written a movie before. So when I was writing it in the script, I tried to follow the rule of one minute per one, page of script. But I didn't write in all of the action sequences and whatnot. I just was counting on dialogue. So the movie turned out to be like an hour and a half or so, which is a feature length. And Corey edited it and found that there really wasn't anything else to cut, and that it had a good flow and a good energy throughout. It doesn't really drag anywhere. And so we decided collectively to go ahead and release it as its own standalone feature, which is great. But that's
awesome.
how it came about. It was supposed to be part of this whole collective.
And I got through, I think, unfortunately, I got distracted with things I had to do. So I got through like the first 15 minutes of Damsel of the Doomed, and I super enjoyed it. And I'm going to finish it as soon as possible.
Oh, cool.
Because I love the acting, all the women in that scene, the first 15 minutes, when they're going to take her to burn her and everything. It was, that did not seem like amateur acting to me. We
have some really good actresses in that one.
Julia, who plays Scarah's mom, and Sarah both got. Julia got best U.S. actress at Austin Revolution, and then Sarah got best Texas actress. So all these actresses are just winning awards for this film. They're doing fantastic. Yeah.
So I do need to call out, because one of the guys that's watching us on Facebook is my friend Matthew, and he's the gentleman that connected us with you, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's so excited for Damsel of the Damned. He can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So Matthew is I met Matthew during South by Southwest at an event. And so we're excited. We're excited to get him out because we're also tabling at Texas Frightmare. So
awesome.
And come on by and say hi during the trade show proper, just come on by.
Or at the screening, because we're doing a Q&A right after.
Oh, that's awesome. Any plans to come to Florida?
If we get into a festival, yeah, that would be cool.
We actually we were in the Indy. What was the name?
Yeah.
It was in Orlando.
Screamfest or something.
What was it?
Was it Screamfest? I can't remember. We got into a good one, but we couldn't. We had something else at the same. The same we couldn't attend.
Well, yeah, that was
Airfest. I can't remember now.
You'll have to keep us posted for sure, because we both live in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, like Spooky Empire is kind of the biggest one.
It wasn't that one. It was the Indie. It was Indie Horror Film Fest or something. It was in Orlando.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, all right. What part of Florida are you guys? It's Indie Horror Junkie Film Fest.
I'm 45 minutes from Orlando.
Okay. Yeah, it's Indie Horror Junkie Film Fest is the name of it.
I will look that up when we get done. That's awesome. So Sarah, what were some of your inspirations for the character of Scarah?
Of course, Elvira is a big inspiration. I remember seeing her. I think the very first time I ever became aware of Elvira was seeing her cutout in a convenience store, like selling beer, I think.
Oh yeah, I think it was Coors Light or
Coors
something.
Light.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's when I became aware of her. And to me, I was a little kid, but to me, like that was like glamour, you
Yeah.
know? She just looked super glamorous and amazing. And I've always loved Halloween, always, always. And so whenever I found out, I saw it said the Queen of Halloween on her cutout. She had me, you know, that
Yeah.
was it. So she's a big influence for sure. And all of, you know, any little bits and pieces of horror hosts I've seen, I've you know, taken little bits, and you know, it's in my psyche. I like Joe Bob Briggs a lot because his character that he portrays is really, it's kind of him as a person but just more amplified. So he's
Yeah.
not a Svengoolie type that's over the top campy. He's
Right.
just more amplified as a person when he is Joe Bob Briggs. And that's kind of how I take Scarah. It's not so like, you know, very this totally separate, different character. It's just, it's more of it's me and all of my spooky parts amplified out.
Yeah.
Is how I like to play her. And that's definitely from Joe Bob. But I would say Elvira, Joe Bob, and then just every spooky thing that I've come across in, you know, my entire life. I've always been a fan of horror and Halloween. Always.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm a bit older than you, but I can remember when Elvira hosted. Mark, I don't know if Mark's gonna remember this, but Elvira was one of the hosts for a Disney Halloween TV show, and they made her because her dress is so low cut. They made her take her wig and paste it down to her chest, so you couldn't see anything. It was the funniest damn thing. I didn't get
Disney,
it at first.
Yeah. I could see that. Her movie too. There's some similarities between Damsel of the Doomed and Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. First of all, the name Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Scarah, Damsel of the Doomed. That's definitely an homage to Elvira. And Elvira was an homage to Vampira, and Vampira was Morticia. You know what I mean? It just kind of goes. It's all the same spooky spirit. And in our movie, like her movie, I love Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. That movie. It's definitely a comedy. It's definitely campy. I love all those things. Our movie's not as campy, and there are funny moments, and it is about a horror host, you know, who is a witch and things happen, but those are about all of the similarities. I would say there's, you know, some central stuff going on that's kind of similar, but it's the similarities are purposeful and intentional because, you know, she is a big inspiration.
Yeah, of course.
And in fact, you're the second low budget female horror host we've had on the podcast, right, Jim?
Oh,
yes.
Who was the first?
Vera.
Vera Vanguard.
Yes.
Right?
Vera Vanguard.
Yes, she has a series that she does. Oh my God, the name's escaping me right now. It's on Momitu, isn't it, or is it FearPix? It's on one of the streaming services, and for whatever reason, the name is escaping me.
How do you spell her last name?
VAN.
She's great too.
VANGUARD.
Oh, Guards. Okay.
Yeah.
Host.
She's also a filmmaker. She made a puppet sci-fi movie. It was great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's called Apocalypse Love. It's about a guy trying to protect his dead girlfriend from an alien invasion.
That sounds great.
So I'm curious, Corey, what's next for you guys?
Well, as you guys know, Sarah and we play in a horror pop punk band, so we're always playing out, mostly in Texas, unfortunately for you guys, and the band just released a new music video, so we're super excited about that. We're writing new music. So that's always going on. And then we're excited for Damsel of the Doomed to be released hopefully sometime around October. That's we're just anticipating distribution on that end and to get that into the public's hands so they can start watching that film, and we'll have Blu-rays and physical media for people. And then for me, I have a new horror film called Demon Code that I'm hoping to shoot next year. It's a bigger budget film, and for those people that want to support indie film, have your name in the credits or exclusive merchandise, you can hop over to horrorweb.com and just click on the Demon Code link, and it takes you to a crowdfunding platform. So you can go and support indie film, support what we do, and get some cool perks. So that's sort of everything I think that's going on right now, right, Sarah?
Yeah, that's everything like film wise. I host a horror movie night at a drive-in theater here in Austin, Texas, once a month on the first Thursday of the month called Scarah Scream Theater. So I do that regularly, and some other hosting murder mysteries and things like that as my character.
And a future podcast, right?
Yeah, I'm going to start a podcast that's going to, because I write these, I call them sermons about the horror movies that I show. And I climb up this big zombie head and deliver a speech to the crowd. And I was talking to Corey about how whenever I'm researching for horror movies, I often can't find what I want to hear in a podcast about horror movies. Usually, a lot of the times, podcast hosts will kind of just give you a play by play of what happened in the horror movie.
Right.
And I want to know other things. I can watch the movie myself. I want to know about how the sauce was made, so to speak. So that's what I do in person in the shows is I deliver, speeches about like how the movie was made or what were the influences and what, anything quirky or fun that happened or, what a director said in an interview that I saw. And I figured so everybody can kind of hear that, I'm going to go ahead and start a podcast, with the material that I write for these Scream theaters. It'll be cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you. I'm trying to think if there's I feel like there's something else I'm missing. Oh, so we'll be at Texas Frightmare in May, and then we have other horror festivals we're going to. Houston Horror Film Festival we're tabling at. We're waiting to hear if we got into their film festival. Hopefully so, fingers crossed. That's another great festival that we love. We'll be at Big Texas Terror in San Antonio this summer as well, tabling at that event. I don't think they have a film festival, but we'll be there, promoting all of our stuff. And I think we're part of an event called Blood and Brushes, which is a special effects makeup competition here in Austin that we'll be helping with. And I think that's all I have right now.
So,
That's a lot.
So, a real quick question: when do either of you sleep?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we do. We definitely. There's a lot going on. Always.
Yeah, a lot of people ask that. I mean, honestly, everything kind of has a season, I think, and and also there is a crew of people behind, so we have a wonderful community of filmmakers and artists and production people who helped us make these films, and to sit here and name them I'd forget someone and it'd be an injustice, but yeah, I mean, there's no way one or two people could make those two films, and so yeah, it oftentimes feels like it's like where do you get time? But I do think that that these are things that we're always doing, and we'll pick, and so when we're making film, of course, that's our focus, and the band and other things will kind of chill out while we're in principal photography. We may not play at all during those month or 2 or 3 months pre-production up till. So, we kind of just things wax and wane depending on what creative efforts are going on, and with our team's help, we're able to do these sort of larger than life sort of projects.
So I have to ask, right? You're both obviously huge horror fans. What are some of your favorite horror movies?
For me, I'm really influenced by Rob Zombie. I love House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm influenced by Rob Zombie mostly because of what a diverse artist he is as a musician and a filmmaker, and also artist. He draws and stuff. So he's always influenced me because of that. And I have my favorite B horror films. I enjoy like Night of the Demons. I like creature features are my thing. I just love creature features. My new film Demon Code is a creature feature film about a quantum physicist who breaks through reality and unleashes hell. It's kind of like a cross between a Clive Barker Hellraiser and The Matrix, kind of vibe. And so yeah, I mean, that's for me. I think that's my that's sort of the roots of my passions for horror, I think.
Are you a fan of John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Just bring the quantum physics in there.
yeah, right.
I mean, quantum physics, that's pretty heavy. Where'd you do your research?
Oh, University of Texas in Austin.
I'm totally kidding because we talked about your career earlier.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Well, I mean, the thing about it is that's a very common question in my other life.
Is it?
So I'll answer it as if it's real.
That's fair. That's fair. So I'm curious because you both.
So, Scarah, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Oh, that's such a hard question. I'll just answer by saying like my most recent favorite horror movie was The Substance.
That was a good one.
I thought that was great. It blew me away. It was very unique, and it paid homage to a lot of different horror movies, shot for shot. And I think it was one one that everybody could enjoy, but it had a really good and specific message for women of a certain age, which you don't really see a lot. So that was
I
cool.
agree. Even with all of its continuity issues, I still love the film.
Yeah.
Continuity bothers me. Mark will tell you I can get quite buried into the details.
Yeah.
I have a weird relationship with The Substance because sometimes your expectations going in, if they're not right, you don't really get it. And I didn't look at any trailer. I just kind of heard generally the vibe, and it's kind of like an arty movie. So I went in there thinking it was going to be a very not straightforward, but very serious, like art house horror flick.
Yeah.
And I was like scratching my head halfway through, and then afterwards, I'm like, no, this is just like a arty B house movie from the 80s.
Yep.
Right? They shot it in that way.
They did.
I'm thinking about that. I'm like, oh no, I do like it now.
Right. So I'm curious because you both do engage in the writing side of things. When you write a character, do you write it for a specific actor, or does the character tell you what to look for in casting?
For me, it's definitely the latter. We don't have. Definitely the latter. A right character. The character fits the story. The character in this sort of the way I like to design, and becoming a better script writer and a storyteller. There are certainly ways to become. I mean, you could be a naturally gifted storyteller and screenplay writer, but there are techniques and things that you can learn that make you a better screenplay writer and a storyteller. And so I have a friend that sort of I went through a training with, who has a technique called the nutshell method, and she's got one of the best selling books on Amazon, and she's written Emmy and BAFTA award-winning screenplays, an amazing screenplay writer. And so much of the journey of a film is the journey of the protagonist and their character and their personality and their flaws and how they address these flaws, and et cetera, et cetera. And so for me, I know that some people write to a specific actor that they're big fans of. That's not really, I don't, first off, I don't have the luxury of doing that, right? But for me, in the way that I write, in the technique that I use to write with, the journey of the characters, in particular the protagonists, is literally the story everything hinges on that, and so it would be hard to choose someone. That is the story for me, so it's too integral for me to judge it on someone personally. I don't know if that makes sense, but
That's fair. And people are different, right? You have, we've talked to some filmmakers that they know exactly who they're writing for, so they shape the character that way. And then they have we have other filmmakers that we've spoken to that take the exact same approach. Is the character develops, and then you find the actor to fit it.
yeah. That is it is, and don't get me wrong, there are definitely some supporting characters that I have in my brain, like when you're thinking about and you're writing, you're like, oh, this is the person that this character fits that I like, But for my leads, I never think that way for leads. So
For Damsel of the Doom, there's a character in there that I wrote with a specific person in mind, but I didn't think this person was going to act in the movie. I just wrote the character because this person that I know, he himself is a character, so I wrote it in his voice. You know what I mean? And we're just going to cast an actor to play him and kind of like get that actor to kind of be around the real life person to take on, his idiosyncrasies. I can't say the word, his characteristics.
Yeah, there you go.
but then it turned out we're like, well, what if we just try to see if he can actually act in it? And he did a good job. It's in the movie. It's Leonard. His real name's Lynn, but he plays the caretaker basically out at the drive-in theater. And so I didn't mean to write it for him. I wrote it with his voice in mind. I basically, like, a lot of the things, the dialogue are things that he has specifically said that I've heard him say. So it's a good tool to use in that respect. And I know, like, Quentin Tarantino, for example, he often writes roles with specific actors in mind. He doesn't always get the specific actor he wants, but he definitely does that. I think it's one of those tools you can use to, like, make your character come to life a little bit more, because writing the dialogue is fun whenever you could put it in someone's voice that you have specifically in your mind, but it, like Corey said, everybody has a different way of doing things.
Of course, absolutely. That's what makes each film individual, right?
Yeah.
Mark?
Hello? Okay, so I have a question for both of you. If Jim wins the lottery and he decides to be an angel and give the both of you $10 million
Whoa.
to make a movie, what movie would you make and who would you cast?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah, we like to put people on the spot here.
yeah, well, yeah.
As far as, do you have ideas that you're like, if we had the money to do this, we would love to do it, but we don't have that money right now?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the film that I'm working on. It's my baby. You know what I mean? So, as a filmmaker, the first couple films that as a director, you're trying to find your voice. It's a lot like becoming a musician and you're starting to write music and you're trying to find your voice as a filmmaker. And for me, this film, Demon Code, that I'm, is really me finding my voice. I'm super excited about it. It's definitely the film that I would shoot no matter what budget I'd have on it. So if I had $10 million, it'd be a killer film,
So, Jim, take note.
Yep. Take note. Note taken.
Jim,
if I
if
win
you
the lottery, 10 million to Demon Code. I get it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Give me 10 million, and then I'm going to give 5 million to Corey to help him make Demon Code. And then I'm going to take another 5 because
I have one caveat to my donation, just so you know.
What?
I have to be a character and I have to die in the most horrific way possible.
All right. Done.
I will give you an extra 10 million if you make it a documentary.
You really want us to kill him, huh?
He does. Sometimes.
Yeah. I never said that. Officer, I never said that.
Okay.
It was an interpretation.
Because we're pretty desperate filmmakers. We probably kill the hell out of each other.
I have some author friends, and I've been extremely lucky to be killed off in several books, and I've loved every minute of it.
Awesome.
It's great. So tell us, Corey, about Demon Code, or at least what you can.
Yeah, so like I said, it's sort of Demon Code is about a quantum physicist and his student who get their quantum computer working, and they asked the quantum computer this ultimate question about reality, and it kind of breaks reality, and these creatures show up, and it's sort of hell. It becomes unleashed, I guess, and the film itself is a very relevant film. It sort of explores fears of growing fears of technology and like AI and quantum technologies and simulation theory. And so it's the dialogue is very accurate because I happen to be a subject matter expert on quantum physics, right? So it's a fun film because I think it's going to be because it has an authenticity to it with respect to the science that they're addressing, and it's sort of a dive into subjective and objective realism, like what is real, and it just has a lot of pretty profound statements I think to make, but I think it's definitely an ambivalent film or sort of the type of film where you don't have to really take home any of that. You could just sit back and watch it and enjoy it too. And so you can sort of go as deep with it as you want. And and so we have two key creature designers already under contract, and they're creating the creatures for the film. One of them is Matt Valentine, who's been on Face Off for a few seasons. He's won a bunch, so he's won some stuff. So he's like just fantastic key creature design. The other creature design artist was the assistant director and creature design artist in the Black Quarry. So the creature in the Black Quarry, she created that creature. She is making the main the sort of the main creature of the film, and so her name is Kayla Stojic, and Matt Valentine are the two. So I'm excited to get these two guys. They're under contract. They're creating the costumes for the creatures, and so yeah, it's just it's going to be awesome, man. People are pretty sold on it, and and it just has a really cool message. And it's built to be a franchisable film. So I've already started working on writing part 2 of the film. So this is going to go on for a while. So it'll keep me occupied.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just wait till you tell them about your now $5 million budget.
That's right.
We're going to be we're working extra hard now.
Right.
Right.
So before we wrap up, let's talk about your music. Sarah, have you always wanted to be a lead singer of a band?
Music's always been in my life for sure, and I always had. It's super weird. I've always had a feeling I would be. I don't know. I've always had a feeling I would be, and then the older I got, the more I was like, when is this shit gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I was out there auditioning to be in bands either. So it's just bizarre, but it all came together. Like a lot of stuff has come together when I started hanging out with not only Corey, but a lot of the people that are in our production company collective, so to speak. So it was great. Corey was already in a band and has been in bands for decades. And the band he was in was called Residue. And that one kind of came to a natural end. And when it did, he got with me and he was like, talking about how he always wanted to do a horror punk kind of a thing. And so his band, him and the drummer and the bass player from the previous band Residue were all coming over for this new project. And then I hopped in and it all worked pretty well. Like after we started rehearsing during the lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
So we had time to like really gel and get together. And then we started playing every weekend at Bat City Scaregrounds, which is a haunted attraction that Corey owns that I work at. And we were the haunted house band for that. So that like kind of helped me get myself together on stage performing in front of people as a musician rather than a horror host. And it all worked out and we're still together. We just wrote a new song called Spooky Shit that's out on all streaming services. We have a new music video for that one too.
I haven't seen the video, but I did listen to the song.
Oh, you got to see the video. It's super fun. It's
I
one
will
of my
have to check it out.
favorites. Yeah, it's on the Horror Web YouTube channel under the Immortals playlist.
I will look that up for sure. So Corey, music, how big of a part of your life is it? Sounds like it's pretty important.
Yeah, I do production and I do it's definitely a huge part of my life. Um, and and it's not just for the band, like I do the audio production for my films and stuff too. So, um, you know, it was everything to me for a long time, really. In my 20s and 30s, I was just a regionally touring musician, writing in original bands and playing music, and it was the only artistic release I had for a long time. And I was a very active musician. And then we sort of got older, and I opened up my theme parks, and that was sort of this an alternative way of doing art. And so it sort of naturally slowed down a little bit. And now that I've picked up film, I found a new angle with audio production and music. I can do that with my films. And so while we do play out and we are an active band, we're not as active, like we're not nationally touring or anything. And so yet who knows what could happen, right? But and so I think music and audio production is just something that's ingrained to me. um, Film has certainly taken over my life, but it doesn't mean abandoning anything because you need audio production and film. And so I definitely see a baton exchange happening for me because I can shoot film, I can go on set, do principal photography for 30 days, and then come home and do audio production and editing on that and at home. And I don't have to be on tour or something, but I always love writing music. That's my thing. And I'll always love producing music to some extent, writing music more. So, yeah, that's music, I think, for me.
Awesome.
Now,
Mark?
Jim, you recently picked up and started playing the triangle. So if you need a professional triangle player for any of your tracks,
That's right.
see, he knows all the moves.
Yeah, he's again being facetious. I have zero artistic or musical ability in my body. I can fix computers and I can talk shit about horror movies. Those are my two talents.
Well,
I think everybody has some artistic qualities, just haven't tapped in yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, possibly. I'm also I get hyper focused and then bored. So, like I taught myself how to crochet just because I wanted to learn how to crochet, and I haven't touched it in 6 months. I started making cups and t-shirts for about 3 months, and then I just dropped that also. So I might be some ADHD in there or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're more autistic than artistic.
Funny guy, Mark. Funny guy.
Mm-hmm. I'm here all week, folks.
Yes, you are. But guys, I'd love to have you on maybe in October to talk about your haunted house attraction or some of your theme parks. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. It's October is a wild time for me. So, but we could probably find something. It's
sometime around there anyway. It doesn't have to be October.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
awesome.
Theme park season's a wild time. Sarah and I are both. It's crazy. I mean, because it's a fun thing, right? Because those types of Halloween parks are a wide demographic. They're not exactly a horror demographic. So it's everyone goes out to those things. And so it's a chance to sort of share our world with everyone, and it's a month where everyone comes out and they get to sort of hear our music and see our set production and our design and even, get marketed our films to, and so, and it's okay for them because it's October and it's okay to be spooky. Right. And so, for us, it's an exciting time because we do get to go outside of our demographic and share what we do with everyone.
That's awesome. Sarah, do you host or are you more of a character actor when you work at these theme park attractions?
It's both. At Bat City, like I'm the first person you see. I sit upon this big witch mountain that has a cauldron in the back that's got green smoke. It's really cool. But it's pretty clever because people come in and I greet them and tell them, whatever information they need. And sometimes I really turn up the character and sometimes I don't, but it's definitely helpful. Like when there's younger kids who are scared or afraid to come in, I kind of make them a little bit more at ease because I'm not scary, out there. I look like a witch. It's definitely a big look. Like I definitely go all out with the look, but I'm pretty nice unless I need to be stern, and then I could be stern. But that's all in good fun.
She is Scarah, Damsel of the Doomed at the park.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Anything I do horror related, I usually am Scarah.
I mean, it's great. So, how do I put this the right way? How hard is it to turn off that character? Like, is it just so ingrained in you that it just comes out naturally? Or
what it is, like the difficult part of it when I'm hosting events is you have to be a character or no character. You have to be on for several hours and social and there for everyone and answering questions and directing things, people going places. And so it's not hard, but it does take a toll. It's a little exhausting after a while, but I do love it. And there's certain things like Scream Theater, for example, the horror movie night. That is something I look forward to every month. It's a lot of prep work, but the actual event is pretty quick and easy, and we get to sit and hang out with each other and watch a horror movie. So that one's low maintenance during the event, but beforehand, it's a lot of work beforehand.
Yeah.
But I host other like Nosferatu Festival, for example. I host that event. I run interview panels for a cult classic convention as Scarah. And it's all like I'm so used to it now, but it definitely it's exhausting work. I wouldn't have thought so, when I first started doing it. But surprisingly it is. It's a lot, I try
Being on all the time is rough.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
It's hard. But
Mark?
once I put on like the Scarah stuff, it's you just kind of are that. You just slip into that mode.
That's sort of your switch is getting into making.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to thank both of you for coming on. It's been really awesome. Again, we're here to support both of you. Like you need our support. You're super talented, multi-talented.
Oh, we love it.
And me and Jim here are just like, this is what we do.
It's important what you do, and you're talented at it. And we're thrilled that you even thought, to have us on. Thanks to your friend.
Thank you so much for having us, man.
Yeah,
what was that friend's name again, Corey? The guy that you met at South by?
Matthew.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks to Matthew for hooking this up.
Yeah, absolutely. His handle is Horror Madness on TikTok. He's a great dude. I absolutely love that guy. One of the nicest guys you could ever meet. Corey, maybe we can have you on once Demon Code is finished and chat about that too, huh?
That would be great. It's hard to think about that. It's a lot like there's a mountain in front of me and I'm just taking one step at a time. But yeah, that would be fantastic. I mean, just super excited. So go to our horrorweb.com. I would say to everyone, go check out all our projects. Follow us, see when Damsel of the Doom is released. Go check out the Black Corey on apps, Amazon. You can watch it on Amazon. You can watch it on YouTube, iTunes, something else. Google Play, I think. Google Play. And so, and I think soon it will be up on Tubi as well, if that's what you do. So check out the film. Hope you guys have fun watching it. Go follow HorrorWeb. Go online. Go to our horrorweb.com website. Click on Demon Code. You can support indie film, get some exclusive merchandise, get your name on the credits. And thank you, Mark and Jim, so much for having us.
You guys are welcome back anytime. We love chatting with independent filmmakers. You guys really make the art that we love. So it really means a lot that we get a chance to chat with you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, indie is where the innovation happens. It certainly isn't with big studios, so the new stories, new things are always happening in the indie world.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Mark, any closing remarks from you?
No. Again, just thank you so much. Hope to have you back on in the future.
Yep. We'll definitely stay in touch because this has been a great chat. So thank you guys both. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank you guys.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, thank